All right, let's talk about something we all face every single day. It's this constant choice, right? Do we stay cozy where we are, in our comfort zone? Or do we push ourselves into the unknown to chase after something bigger? In this explainer, we're going to dig into that.
You ever have this thought pop into your head, man, what's the point of all this hustle? We're all just going to die anyway. If you have, you know how paralyzing it can be. That's the voice of your comfort zone talking. And trust me, it's a very, very convincing voice.
So that brings us to the big question. Can real, meaningful success ever come from a place of comfort? Or is stepping into that scary, uncomfortable space a non-negotiable part of the deal? Let's find out.
And this is where we so often get tripped up. When things get hard, it just feels easier to shrink our dreams down to a more manageable size instead of leveling ourselves up to meet the challenge. It's a quiet way of giving up before we even really start.
So you see, this isn't really a choice between work and rest, it's something much deeper. It's about stagnation versus growth. Yeah, the comfort zone feels safe, but nothing ever grows there. The growth zone, it's uncomfortable for sure, but that's where all the learning and, eventually, all the success happens.
And if you want a perfect example of this journey, you don't have to look very far. In fact, nature gives us the perfect metaphor, the life of a tiny little seed.
Just think about it for a second. You're a seed. You get shoved into the ground, surrounded by nothing but cold, dark, silent dirt. From the outside, it looks like the end, right? Like you've been buried. It seems like a hopeless situation.
But here's the secret the seed understands. That darkness, it isn't the enemy. It's not an obstacle. It's actually the essential ingredient for growth. To get to the light, the seed has to first embrace the darkness and go even deeper. And the seed's process isn't random. It follows a really clear three-step formula. First, it has to connect. It sends out roots to get a firm grip and build a foundation. Then, it starts to collect, pulling in all the water and nutrients it needs to get strong. And only after it's done those two things can it finally contribute, breaking through the surface and giving its gifts to the world. Okay, so that's a seed. What about us? How do we kickstart our own growth process? Well, we start by using a tool that is unbelievably powerful for reprogramming our own minds, and that tool is visualization.
Now, this is not just about daydreaming, not at all. Visualization is the active practice of building a super clear, super detailed picture of what you want in your mind. You practice it so much that your brain literally starts to believe it's real.
Let me tell you this incredible story from our source material. It's about this guy working a totally normal job, but he has this huge, seemingly impossible dream. He wants to pack up his life and go study at a university in the UK. So what he did was brilliant. He basically ran two processes at the same time, side by side. On one track, he was doing all the practical, technical stuff, saving up money, studying like crazy for his exams. But on the other track, he was doing something just as important. He started living as if he was already there. I mean, he went all in. He started eating with a fork and knife every day just to get used to the culture. He even told his job he was sick for 6 months so he can dedicate every single minute to studying. He wasn't just hoping for it to happen, he was actively rehearsing his future.
And this is the real game changer right here, his mindset. Anytime he got a rejection letter or hit a roadblock, he didn't see it as a failure. He would just tell himself, oh, this is just a replay. It's like rewatching a football game when you already know your team wins. The stressful moments don't bother you because you already know how the movie ends.
Okay, so if visualization is this powerful, you might be wondering, well, why doesn't it work for everybody? Why do so many of us get stuck? Let's break down some of the real-world hurdles that get in our way.
The truth is, there's a huge gap between visualizing something and actually actualizing it, making it real. Lots of us are great at the dreaming part, but we get stuck somewhere in the middle. And a big reason for that, especially today, is the world we live in.
Let's be honest. Probably the single biggest obstacle we face is the constant storm of digital noise. Every ping, every notification, every time you endlessly scroll, it pulls your attention outward. It creates this mental fog that makes it almost impossible to find the quiet space you need to focus inward. And visualization absolutely requires that inner quiet to work.
And that's exactly why having a mentor or a guru can be such a massive shortcut. Think about it. You can learn by stumbling around, making all the mistakes yourself, which costs you a ton of time. Or you can learn by seeing, by following someone who's already walked the path. They help you cut through all that noise and just focus on what matters. So how do you actually start building that future? Let's get really practical here and walk through a simple exercise you can literally start doing today to begin this process.
But first, you have to get this one thing straight. It is a critical mindset shift. We tend to think, oh, once I'm successful, then I'll be disciplined and organized. But that's completely backward. Discipline isn't what you get from success. Discipline is what causes success. It always comes first. Okay, here's the technique. It's super simple but really powerful. I want you to imagine a screen in your mind. On the left side of the screen, you're going to put your past. See all the events, the good and the bad, but see them in black and white. Then, on the right side, you're going to picture the future you really want, but see that in brilliant, vibrant color. And here's your daily practice. It only takes 1 minute. You close your eyes, you see that faded black and white past on the left. Then you see that bright, colorful future on the right. Now let the black and white picture fade, and put all of your focus, all of your energy on that colorful picture. Really feel what it's like to be there, and as you do, you can see how the best parts of your past are the stepping stones leading you to this amazing future.
And I have to stress this again, this is not just wishful thinking. This is an active training session for your brain. By doing this every day, you are literally programming your subconscious mind to notice opportunities and to make choices that will pull you toward that colorful future you see so clearly.
So, that brings me to the last and maybe the most important question, the one I'm going to leave with you. What is the colorful picture of your future?